Hey boys and girls, Mr. Beard here with your class recap for Tuesday, April 10th. We started today with our bell ringer, which was daily language. You need to take a look at this sentence and correct it. Your goal in correcting it, though, is to have the best fluency possible, meaning it flows and it sounds nice. It sounds like you, um, and it's very readable. So if you were not here, go ahead and add that to your bell ringer sheet with your corrections. The next thing we did was to take a look at this week's vocabulary list, roots. The first word was credo, which means credible or believable. The next word is cogito, which means knowledge. There's a famous saying there, cogito ergo sum, which means I think, therefore I am. I think, therefore I exist. Dice means day. Nocturnal means you are active at night. Diurnal means you are active during the day. So dice, day. Locutio is speech. Like eloquent means you're good at speaking. Pugnaire means to fight with the fists. Back in the old days, they didn't call boxers boxers. They called them pugilists because they fight with their fists. A good mnemonic device is pugs fighting with their fists. Pugilists, pugs fighting with their fists. Bellum means war. The antebellum period is the time before the war in the South, and it's this romanticized time period. Unfortunately, it probably shouldn't be romanticized because it was a time period that was reliant totally upon slavery, which is obviously an evil and shameful institution. So band names like Lady Antebellum and this celebration of this before the Civil War period in the South is misguided. Vox means voice or calling, like a vocation is your there used to be these speakers called the Vox speakers, which means voice. Side obviously means murder. You can probably think of all kinds of sides. Suicide, regicide, which means killing a king. Homicide, which means killing other human beings. Insecticide, pesticide, genocide, which means killing an entire genus or group of people. Alia means others, like alien or alias. And that covers the vocabulary. After we were finished with it, we had optional vocab, where you go through and do the 3D vocabulary. That is, again, optional. Most students chose to do that. And then once we were finished with that, we took a look at Chinese Cinderella, which is the novel we are getting into. And we went ahead and began Chinese Cinderella, specifically taking a look at the preface and the author's note. Because this is a story of unwanted children for one reason or another, which ties directly into our lesson yesterday when we talked about Cinderella characters. The common theme is that they're unwanted and they have low social standing. This is a real-life, true story, but she shares many themes in common with the Cinderella myths of many cultures. And if you remember, the oldest Cinderella myth was actually from China, so this is even more appropriate in that way. So we took a look at the author's note. Now, a preface, if you look, speaking of root words, if you look at the word pre here, means before. A preface is an author's addressing of the reader or talking to the reader before the actual story begins. That is a preface, and that is what we read today. And she, right off the bat, tells us this is a true story of her childhood up to the age of 15. Her family considered her bad luck because her mother died giving childbirth to her, or during childbirth with her. And in Chinese culture, especially at this time when the story was written, it was very bad luck to have your mother die in childbirth while giving you, especially if you were female, because at that time in China, females were not wanted at birth. Your family wanted to have males to carry on the family name, and females had a lower class social standing for that reason. So she was especially bad luck and unwanted. And that covers the reading for today. Thanks for listening. Have a great one.